This is Greg Crippen. You're listening to Leaders in Next podcast.
Welcome to episode 8 of Leaders in Next. We're joined by offensive lineman, center, Greg Crippen, number 51. Greg is a 3-time Letterman, 2-time academic All-Big Ten honoree. Greg, thanks for joining the podcast.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome, man. We're going to start a little bit of step back before Michigan. Unlike many people I know at least, you left home at 14 to go to Milton Academy. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, especially in Massachusetts, to be recruited by these big-time schools, you kind of have to go to it's called the ISL. That's like the private school league, one of them at least, but it's usually the biggest one. And that's how you get recruited by big schools. And I knew that's what I needed to do to get to the level of like Michigan. So that was obviously a sacrifice I would have to make, leaving home and living in a dorm. But it's definitely worth it.
And like you said, it was a boarding school, so you were there, you lived there. I guess that helped get you ready for college. How far away were you from your parents?
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. It was about a little over 45 minutes, almost to an hour. But it was closer to Boston, so traffic could get pretty bad in the mornings and later in the days. And obviously I'd be sitting in traffic for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours every day. And this is not the life I wanted to live at all. And that must be tough. It would be tough every day. So I was throughout the week, stay at school, and then usually weekends I'd go home.
Well, you got something in common with Cam Brandt. We talked to him a few weeks ago, and I think he made the commute from across LA, something crazy. So I think he had a 2-hour commute too. So you got something in common with him. Speaking of fellow teammates, Milton Academy, Khalil Mullings also went to Milton Academy. Were you guys tight there? I'm sure you're on the team, so you hung out and stuff. But what a crazy circumstance! He also ended up Michigan. Was that planned at all? That you guys were close in high school and wanted to go to college together as well?
No, I would say we were definitely cool. We were definitely we'd hang out and stuff like that. But not with Michigan. I mean, I know Michigan showed pretty strong interest in him early on, and I think coming from a background where education is important and obviously tradition and Michigan being a top school in the country, and there's a good amount of Michigan fans where we're from, and I think I think me and Khalil, I know his dad pretty well. My dad, they're good friends, and big Michigan fans for a long time, and
That's awesome.
Did Khalil? Did you guys talk about at the time? It doesn't sound like you said, "Hey, let's both go to Michigan," because obviously, we'll talk about it later. But you went to, you committed to Notre Dame, and obviously you weren't at Milton. We'll get into it. You weren't at Milton that long, but was it something where you guys talked about wanting to play together at the next level?
No, I don't. No, we never talked about that. Okay. I think at the time we were so young. He was a sophomore, I was a freshman, and at the time I was just trying to get offers. Thinking about where we're going. It wasn't really something we were thinking about too much.
But maybe it just happened. It sounds like you guys both had a similar view on what kind of school you wanted to go to in terms of big time football, but also just the alumni base and just all those characteristics that make the school great. But then,
I know a school he liked also.
Yeah, and then you went to IMG. I think everyone's heard of IMG at this point, just given they've put more than 20 guys in the pros. JJ went there. They had a couple other high draft picks that came out of IMG. I'm just really curious. I'm sure a lot of people want to go there. What's the process you have to go through to get to IMG, get accepted to IMG? How did that all work for you?
Yeah, that one was pretty crazy. So it was August, and I was getting ready to head back to school in a couple weeks to Milton Academy, and my dad got a call from one of the recruiting people at IMG, and he was like, "Hey, we need another offensive lineman," and they were about to have their first game, and they said, "We need another offensive lineman," and really interested in Greg, and would like to offer him a spot here on the national team, which is their best team. and I was like, it would be interested in coming to school here. And I wasn't there with my dad, but he came back. I think it was at work or something like that, or he came back to me, and that day he's like, "Oh, like, should we do it?" And like, he said at the time he didn't think I'd actually do it, but I was like, "Yeah, I mean, if I'm trying to do the best, like, that's the school to go to," and I knew it would prepare me to be the best. And yeah, that was definitely a tough decision. It was probably one of the toughest decisions in my life, especially because I was probably 15 or 16 years old, to go all the way to Florida, and I didn't know anyone there. And yeah, I mean, definitely a decision I don't regret.
So they recruited you effectively. Did you say it was August? I just want to get the timeline. So weren't you like a few weeks away from playing in your first game?
Yeah, we hadn't started anything with football at Lineman Academy yet. Okay. No, we didn't start anything there yet. I'm not sure how soon we were, but yeah, we started a little later than I realized, and then the Florida teams maybe here as well. But
kick things off a little faster. Yeah, we've heard a lot about IMG being a lot like college, not just the sense that you're away from home, but just the curriculum, the intensity around lifting, nutrition, practice. Take us through what was it like as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, day in the life of you at IMG?
Yeah, I mean, something I've never done before is have my sport in the morning and then school in the afternoon. I'd have I would have football in the morning, and then later on I would go to school around 1 o'clock to like 5 something, and then I'd have 3 periods of time periods of classes, and like an hour and 20, which is I think the same thing, which is the same thing here. And yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I was just flipped. We're in the morning here. We go to school in the morning. We have football in the afternoon, but pretty much the same thing.
Were there any regulations about like the NCAA has? You can only practice so long, and they have time frames. How at the high school level in Florida, were there any limitations in terms of the amount of time that you could spend on football when you were at IMG?
I don't remember anything like that, but
okay.
they definitely were following. If there were rules, they were definitely following me. I never felt like I was being overworked or because plus I guess it's a good thing they know they have to get us to school, so can't be late for school. So.
That's a good point.
Nice. Yeah. Before we talk about the transition from high school, at this time, I think you'd made the decision. You're now a center for the most part, right? I mean, just curious. Center's a tough position. Why the heck did you decide to be a center?
So my freshman year of high school, I was at Lineman Academy. I was right guard, and then at IMG Academy, my sophomore year, I was left guard. Played next to Evan Neal, he was left tackle. Sorry. And I say I'm battling a sickness.
No worries at all.
Too much time in the Florida sun.
I know. I'll be right back.
Yeah, the Florida beach will do that to you.
I got sick the other day, yesterday, the other morning, and I was so annoyed.
Well, it's a good thing we don't have a game tomorrow. You'd have to be playing through that sickness. But
man, Greg, if you want to test your immune system, come over to my house. I got a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old. You'll get every disease imaginable in about 3 days. So,
oh, nice.
Test it out.
Yeah, no, we had lift this morning, so I mean, definitely some things we did. It was kind of tiring, but.
So when did you become center full time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my my sophomore year I was actually left guard, and then I forget what happened. I mean, I think we just needed at IMG. We needed a junior. We kind of needed a center, and my O-line coach Hegeman. He played in the NFL for a while. He was like, "Oh, I think you should try to play some center." And I was like, "Okay." Yeah, sounds good. I mean, just do whatever you need to help the team. And start playing. It was definitely awkward because, I mean, you snap the ball between your legs and you have to block someone, and it's unorthodox, especially if you've never doing it before. And I feel like I picked it up pretty quickly. And yeah.
Walk us through along those lines, because I think it seems like center only gets attention when there's a bad snap, or everyone else moved and you didn't snap the ball, and so everyone's thinking it's your fault. But essentially, you guys are the quarterback of the offensive line in a way, right?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through like your main assignments as a center, during the pre-snap? People see you pointing. You're pointing at the linebacker. You're probably moving people around. I don't know if people take us through the insight of how complicated it is to be a center, because it's a hard job.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, not just snapping the ball between your legs when the quarterback hikes is. Calling out the ID and which way we're sliding. I know for me, an example is if we have a pass, and if I'm, if it's a 6-man protection and the running back's blocking, I have an option to a point where I think someone's blitzing, and for me, it's important for me to watch film and look at the whole defense and determine what type of blitz they may run, or I like to look at the coverages, and it's obviously hard, especially being a center. You count low to the ground, but it can help you determine where, because a lot of teams, they rotate their safeties towards the blitz side, and usually they blitz off. They usually blitz to cover 3 and or cover 1, and I can point where the ID is and make a call for which way the 3-man slide slides to, and we block them. So,
just curious, how long did it take you to get comfortable in that role of knowing, being able to read those coverages, understand where to move people around? Is that a 2-year process, 3-year process?
I feel like what helped me do as well as I did in the beginning, being able to play second string my freshman year, it was just because I was able to pick up on things a little faster with the IDs and seeing things. I've always been pretty good at seeing where people's eyes are and where they anticipating what could happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's good for a center because it could really mess things up pretty easily if you call something wrong or in the run or pass. And
sure.
the calls start with you and then it goes down the line each side.
One of my favorite things, though, maybe where centers do get a break, when you were just talking about this, Dad, where the center doesn't snap it and everyone else jumps and they call it false start, everyone but the center. You're like, was it, or did the center get it wrong, or did everyone else get it wrong?
Center.
So they do get a little bit of immunity, a little bit of seems like they never call it on the center, which that could be nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just seems unfair that the center is snapping the ball with one hand, and across from him is usually one of the heaviest guys.
Yeah. Who's
closest to the ball, and has to snap it and then get their hands up on them quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough job, and if folks don't believe that, ask the center for Alabama in the Rose Bowl. He seemed to have some challenges with that, but
yeah, I mean, blocking Christian Jenkins, Mason, and KG is definitely not an easy thing to do.
No. And probably very, very difficult decision.
It's cut my center career short. That and being 5'9" and 180 pounds. Other than that, I mean, it was going to be a long career on the line.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So coming out of IMG, you're one of the highest rated offensive linemen in the country. You had big Power 5 offers, Alabama, I think OSU, USC, Notre Dame. I mean, obviously blue blood programs. You committed to Notre Dame in March of 2019. What went into your initial decision to commit to Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Notre Dame had the education factor, which I wanted, and then also obviously being a great football school. And I committed early. I committed my sophomore year, and over time realized that it wasn't the school for me. And I mean, Michigan is also a great education and great football school, and I built a relationship with Michigan, and I decided to move on from Notre Dame.
So during the 9 months, I think it was 9 months between when you committed to Notre Dame and then decommitted and committed to U of M. Did Michigan keep recruiting you, or how did that come about? Did you contact them and say, hey, I'm thinking of changing, or did they reach out to you and just keep recruiting you and showing you some love?
I reached out to them a bit more. Yeah, pretty much.
Now that at the time, Coach, I think Ed Werner was the offensive line coach, right?
Yeah,
and obviously he's no longer there. Did that transition when he left? How tight? A lot of times you'll read recruiting stories where someone recruited to a particular assistant coach, and they had a tight bond, and then that coach leaves and they leave. I mean, what was that a big factor, an issue like when he left for you, or you had committed to the school?
So I got there, I believe it was January 18th, 2021, and I believe he left like a couple weeks after that, and never really got the opportunity. Like, I really didn't see him that much around the building, and kind of heard about it. Never saw him after that. I haven't seen him since, and I really didn't know Coach Moore that well at the time.
Okay,
but I committed to Michigan because I thought it was Michigan, and then also I really respected Coach Harbaugh, and like obviously hearing about what he did for J.D. Johnson, and keeping his scholarship, and you hear a lot about these other schools, and like especially being IMG and stuff like that. Like sometimes they can be really tough, with the recruiting process, and
right,
things happen with people, and they kind of just pull the rug from under them.
Well, and for those listening don't know, I mean, we're talking about J.D. Johnson was a quarterback that highly recruited quarterback, committed, and then had some medical issues and could no longer play football, but Michigan still honored the scholarship, and J.D. is with the program. And
he's still on the staff now.
Yeah, so you'll see him for those. You can see him on the sideline, mentoring folks, and so. Great story of not pulling the rug out from underneath them. And we also had a similar story with Tyler Morris, who we had on the podcast, where he had an ACL injury, and Harbaugh basically said, happens all the time, no big deal, you'll recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
no one looked the other way. So I think, again, we're biased because we're Michigan fans, but I think it shows a little bit of into the program, and we'll talk about later a little bit about the culture. By the way, we're getting pretty good at flipping Notre Dame commits, because we just flipped Ivan Taylor, which is a top 100 defensive back from Florida, became the 14th member of this year's class, and was committed to Notre Dame and just committed to Michigan.
Here's what about Notre Dame, just as an aside. We went to a game there a few years ago. I don't think we have a rival where things are as friendly. Like, I just always felt like, I looked at Notre Dame fans, I feel like you're just me in an alternate universe. Like, not hostile, very put together. Not that I'm put together, but they were very nice, and I felt like just the way they managed their program, their tradition, like, I don't know, it felt different than like, you go to some other places and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. So
we felt very welcome there.
Yeah.
Now, you were an early enrollee at Michigan. Were you just tired of the great Florida weather and wanted to quickly get to Michigan and for winter, or
that's it?
I mean, what went into your thought process of becoming, because you're a pretty young guy still at the time, right? What was the reason that you wanted to enroll early?
Yeah, so being at IMG, they really pushed for everyone to do that. Not sure why, but I think it's a great idea, because I think it was a great thing to do for everyone. I think everyone should do it. So they had us take summer classes to then help us graduate, and I think it gave me a leg up from being able to have a spring ball and work out and stuff like that before, till summer workouts at camp. I mean, I feel like it gave me a head start.
Okay.
Speaking of IMG, there were 2 recent commits, Donovan Johnson and Caden Strayhorn. So 2 guys we picked up in this class, both by way of IMG. We're curious, like when an IMG guy is getting recruited by Michigan, do they hook you guys up on a visit, like IMG to to just sort of bond with them, or just curious, do they set that up intentionally?
I think they usually do. Yeah, I'm not really. Never really gotten chosen to host a recruit. I think it's because I don't really go out. I don't go out I just kind of hang out in my room and or go out to dinner with my girlfriend. I'm not I don't do anything too exciting, but there's definitely other guys who are a lot more fun than me with that stuff.
They probably,
Greg,
maybe they
should transition into your mid-30s real easy, because that sounded exactly like my life. So don't worry, bud. That's what winners do.
Yeah, exactly. I think me and Gentry being roommates was the best thing because we do very similar stuff.
Yeah.
So you're not out at 2 a.m. turning it up at Rick's or Scorekeepers? Okay.
No, definitely not. I'm not a nighttime person at all. By 11 o'clock. I'm I don't want to do anything right now.
Yeah, you're definitely you're aged beyond your years, man.
Yeah.
So
that'll help contribute to a long life and a good healthy relationship too. But speaking of, so we stepping past IMG, and we'll talk more about kind of your transition to Michigan. But from both your high school tape and your college tape, there's a lot of positive things people talk about. Obviously, why you were highly recruited. And some of the things they point out: fundamentally sound, quickness on down blocks, moves well in space, great vision as a zone blocker. It goes on and on and on. But we've got some beef. We did not see on your resume where you've thrown or caught a touchdown. It's kind of a theme. Andrew Gentry was bragging about it. He had a pick 6 in his youth football. So we're just trying
a very impressive pick 6 that he claims is on the internet somewhere. We haven't found it.
So
from 5th grade.
Is there a touchdown in there we're missing somewhere that you could help fill us in?
Yeah, well, my youth football days, I did not play. The first time I ever played offensive line was I played FBU football. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's in Massachusetts, the best players usually come together and play on a team and play other states. And that was the first time I played 8th grade. I played offensive line. It was the first time I ever played, and then freshman year of high school, that was full first time I ever started playing. And before that, I was skilled. I threw the ball, I caught the ball, I ran the ball. I scored 4 touchdowns in the first half one game. That was the best one I ever did.
Is this receiving, running, throwing?
I played quarterback and running back that game, and I've caught touchdowns as well. So
now, do you? Now, Max Bredesen, another offensive player, obviously, is quarterback in high school. Do you guys ever get out and just see who's the most accurate or can throw it the furthest in Schembechler while you're just, waiting to do something else?
No, I used to be able to throw the ball. I probably could throw the ball better in 7th grade than I can now.
I cannot. We were talking to Andrew. We were kind of asking him a similar question because he played a lot of basketball, but also said he had the best hands on the offensive line. And I think we learned from this, by the way, that there was there's a draft for the 7-on-7s that you guys do. And he was saying best hands on the line, and I think he was either first or second in the draft. So, hey, can you clap back at him? Or does he really have the best hands? And where did you go in that draft?
Where'd I go? I probably went middle of the pack. Yeah, that's a very important draft. Yeah, we have we do a 7-on-7 thing the Friday before every game.
Is it every game that you guys do it?
Yeah, every game, and it's very important. So last year was the best year. We kept track of the scores, and we had 15 games. So I think it was the second to last game. I think it was tied I don't know.
We're
It,
pretty
it was it
close.
was it was even, it was pretty much even going up until like the last week, and the other team, my team didn't win.
We gotta
Sadly,
know, so because this thing just amazes me. So is it the same team? Like once you did the draft at the beginning of the year, did you keep the same team for the whole season? You did.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
And but back to Gentry's claim that he has like the best hands.
Mm,
Are you?
I think so. I feel like I have good hands, but he definitely does a good job getting open and catching the ball.
I don't think
So. Yeah,
I
best hands.
don't think we can have any center eligible pass plays.
I'll catch it 100%.
Okay.
If there was somehow, some way that would happen, I would catch it.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah. So we, early enrollee, and still you were 18, I think, when you enrolled. So you were pretty young. Now you show up and you've got Michigan strength and conditioning staff. I mean, how did they help you get ready for college football?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good foundation though from IMG, and just like, I mean, my dad's always been really like working out. He still works out pretty hard now. He's getting old, but I've always known how to work out and stuff like that, and being IMG, like they taught you, like they did good things to teach you how to work out, and being they going to Michigan is just kind of built off of it, and getting bigger, and I was a little lighter coming into there. And, just trying to get bigger.
I was curious, how much weight have you gained since you were at Michigan?
It's fluctuated now. I mean, it's like, sometimes you try and gain weight and then you gain too much and you get to go back down a little bit. And it's been and the heaviest I was probably at was 315, and I came into like 285.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah. So I'm not that heavy right now, but yeah.
Okay. So, big shock. Again, you're pretty young, early enrollee. You're coming in, getting involved in practice right away. What was it like putting on the pads for the first time in practice? And, I'm going to guess at the time you're up against guys like Mozzie Smith, probably.
Yeah.
Were there any kind of, we're not talking hazing here, but we're talking like any welcome to the Big Ten moments, rookie kind of thing going on?
Yeah, I definitely have one. I'd say my first practice. So we usually have spring ball. We usually have 2 practices. The first 2 practices are just helmets, and then the third one is like when we actually put the pads on and stuff like that. And then it definitely gets faster. And I remember my first play going into there. I don't know. I think I snapped the ball early. My first play. It was just very loud and chaotic, and listening to the count and stuff like that. I think it was Cade. I think Cade McNamara was the one who was the quarterback on that play. And I remember being taken out. The coach more took me out. And I was like, "Oh, that's not a good start." But yeah, I think it was just that one play. I got taken out. And you say?
It's all up. It's all only up from here.
Exactly. Yeah, I was very nervous, especially my freshman year, just like being able to I think that was my biggest thing. And yeah, but was he really used to everything now? So
that's great. I mean, now speaking of going up against your own teammates, you were on the winning side of the spring game, and now we've talked about. I think most fans know that there's a different meal. The winners get steak, and the losers get hot dogs. Now, your roommate Gentry's. He was on the losing side. Was it a little awkward when you came home? It's like, was he asking? Did you bring him any leftovers?
No, definitely not. We lost. No, we had it at. They brought Chop House to Shem, and we ate there, and it was a certain time slot, and yeah, I mean, I feel like if I lost, I wouldn't want any of it. I mean, I didn't win, so I wouldn't want it.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. You didn't earn it, so you don't want it. So that's okay. Now, obviously a guy your size, we've established you're probably over 300. You're not doing the petite filet. So what is Chop House bringing in for you guys?
Usually when I go to Chop House, I usually get the ribeye, steak, mashed potatoes, and broccoli.
I mean, they have you ever been to one of those Brazilian steak places where they just keep bringing food? Like you put a flag up and they keep bringing you food, because you could probably bankrupt one of those places. I mean, I got to believe you're not just settling for 12 ounces.
Yeah, I definitely am. I have a big appetite, but I know some people with really, really big appetites. It just like amazes me.
You've been to a place like Black Rock where you cook your own steak on those like superheated stones. Have you done that before?
Yeah. Me and Jitch are gonna go after this. We're gonna go and get steaks from Bush's and cook them up with mashed potatoes and broccoli. And we have that. We got what was it, the year before this year? We got these Blackstones, like grill things, and we can like put them on, like they're like portable almost. So we have to cook our steaks on there, which is great.
Bush's is free advertisement here. Bush's Deli is the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
it's definitely expensive, but
a little pricey.
Nice. We have Fuel and Blue, which is like we get money each week to spend on certain places, and Bush's is one of them. It's literally like
nice,
right next to us, like it's super, super close, and yeah.
That's awesome.
It's great.
So now, when you arrived at Michigan, we just won the Joe Moore Award. We'd had really talented guys above you on the depth chart, and then the staff brings in two very experienced centers during the past two seasons. First Olu in 2022 and Drake Nugent in 23. I mean, both guys extremely talented. Like Olu won the Outland Trophy Award, Remington Trophy best center for those that know about the Remington Trophy, and then Nugent was a Remington finalist. What was it like playing with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even Andrew Versardis, I mean, you kind of got a little bit different things from each person. I felt like with Versardis, he was just like a great leader, like lead by example type of guy. I mean, and he played really, really hard, and Olu, he very like savvy player. Like he just kind of like was able to get things done on the field and do all the right things. And then like Drake Nugent was just super tough and played a really, really, really hard worker, and just a really tough guy. And I feel like I've tried to take all those things from them and like obviously use it for myself. And I'm just always trying to be the best version of myself. And it's definitely been tough, being behind those guys as well. But don't want to always. I'm not upset about it either. Because I learn from experiences and take and then build off of it.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because in today's world where we basically have free agency with the portal and people don't have to sit out and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people, I bet if you ask fans, they would have bet money that guys like you would just say, "I'm out of here. I'm going somewhere else." After having guys come in from the portal in your position. I mean, what you said, it was tough. I mean, what kept you at Michigan and patiently waiting your turn?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would probably be the easy thing to do is leave and go somewhere else and say like the kids say, "Oh yeah, this is your spot." But I mean, I feel like that'd be quitting. And like I love Michigan, and I'm always trying to be Michigan man every day. And I mean, I want to make things right. I always want to do great things here, and I mean, I didn't want to quit. I feel like if I were to do that, I'd be quitting. And I just want to do great things in my life, and this is a adversity that I'll have to go through. But I gotta keep on trying to do everything I can to be the best.
Well, it's great perspective as an old guy who's been in, corporate America, there's always companies are always bringing people in. You always have to, it's a fact of life anywhere you go, not just athletics. There's always talented people being brought in, and so it's something you're learning at an earlier age than most, that sometimes the grass isn't greenest. Is the grass is greener where you fertilize it, not necessarily on the other side of the fence. So it's a well, I think fans are super glad that you stayed. As the saying goes, some people make fun of the saying, "Those who stay will be champions," but it literally just happened. So it did come true.
Yeah, well, we got to do it again. So
awesome.
But now you're here. You're kind of on the cusp of your breakout season, right? I think this is the year where you expect to contribute more. A lot of people expect you to contribute more. You got a new coach, and it's a coach you have a lot of familiarity with, Sharon Moore. It was funny. We pulled a couple quotes, and one of them was from his first press conference, and he said, he was asked about his leadership style, and he said, quote, "Number one philosophy is that I coach hard, but I love harder, and I'm going to coach these kids extremely hard. The guys that have been in my room know that, sometimes to a T. Right, Cripp?" Why did he shout you out there?
I was sitting in the back, and it was after a workout, and I knew he was speaking, and I wanted to be there. And I was sitting in the back, and obviously he saw me. I didn't realize he would. And I definitely know. Being there, he obviously, Coach Warner left, and then he became the offensive line coach. And right when I got there, and he's been my coach for the last couple of years, and obviously have a great relationship with each other. And he definitely, I feel like his biggest coaching, he definitely coaches tough, but it's not in like a demeaning way. There's definitely coaches out there who can be tough coaches, but like demeaning, and it just isn't the way to coach, And he's right.
That's awesome. I'm
curious, the other thing,
how much do you love? So he's obviously a former offensive lineman. He played at Oklahoma. What is that? When you see an former offensive line coach that becomes the head coach, are there any specific traits that you can tell, looking at your head coach now? Oh, that's something an offensive line coach would bring with him, and maybe that's a mentality or a toughness or a run first type of attitude. But I'm curious, what manifestations of him as a head coach do you see that you think come from him either being an offensive lineman or being an offensive line coach?
Right. Coach Harbaugh, he is a quarterback, obviously, and I would say he's a tough quarterback. Most quarterbacks aren't really always the toughest people, but he was a tough guy, and he was a pretty tough personality coach. And but I think Coach Moore is just a lot more intense. I feel like being on lineman, we could get pretty intense with some things, and I think that's the biggest takeaway I have from that.
Is that intensity in the way that he practices? Because we have heard that practice is one of those things where it seems like there's a lot more similarities than differences in the transition. We've heard people say Jim ran a very detailed practice. Things were very tough, but also the attention to detail was super high, and Sharon's done a lot of the same things. Do you notice, where does that intensity factor for Sharon kind of come in terms of where he's maybe more intense than Jim?
I think it's just how he speaks. That's how I say that's the biggest intensity part. He's going to do a lot of the same things as Coach Harbaugh did, because, why would you change it? It works. Mm-hmm. I don't blame him. That's what I would do if I were the head coach. Everything we've done is pretty much the same thing as, Coach Harbaugh, and he obviously has his own wrinkles in there, and how he wants to do it. But it obviously works, and I think it's something. I think that was the biggest thing that made us as a team nervous. That could happen is when Coach Harbaugh left, and then bringing in a new coach is kind of changed everything up, and it's we don't know if it'll work. But as someone who's been here for the last couple of years, I know it works, right? I think you guys can tell it works too, and winning a national championship. So really good. Really happy Coach Moore's our head coach, and expecting our goal is to win a national championship, and a lot of guys on the team have new roles and they're going to step up, and obviously me too. And that's what we want. So it's our goal every day. And beat Ohio State.
That's awesome.
Well, speaking of Coach Moore, he also recently said, quote, Crippen was really good. This is after the spring game where, practice is over. Crippen was really good. I saw him take a step mentally. That's really what he needed to do because physically he could do it. Mentally, just calming his mind down, he was really good at that. Do you walk us through what that really means?
Yeah, so obviously a good example was me snapping the ball on the first play when I snapped it a little early. I think that was a good example. I feel like in the past it would be sometimes I'd probably feel like I'd probably get a little overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, but I would probably make things bigger than what they are, and I would kind of get my mind overwhelmed with things. And obviously as a coach, it kind of makes you nervous, in important situations and stuff like that. And I feel like for me, like my mindset lately is just like, and it also is a confidence thing because sometimes you're so nervous about things like, what could this happen? This could happen. Like your mind just kind of goes all over the place. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for me is just being confident in myself. And
Good.
Another quote. So this one's actually from 247 Sports. We were kind of doing a little bit of research leading up to this, and they had published a top 25, and it was a top 25 most important players for the upcoming season, and you came in at number 10. And about you, they said, and this is the quote part, he has been listed as a starter by all the relevant coaches and is viewed as one of Michigan's leaders on the offensive line. It isn't a unanimous choice, but Michigan's season at least partly hinges on if Crippen is elite this fall. So, like, big praise, also big expectations, and this is some random dude writing this, but or not random, but take us through that. First of all, what it feels like to hear that you're viewed as one of the most important and key leaders on not just the offensive line, but the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I feel like for me, I saw that because my girlfriend sent it to me and her family and my family, and sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't really look at that stuff that much, good or bad, because I feel like it'll only, I feel like it never helps me. But I mean, it's very nice of them, and I think for me, my role is on the offensive line, and hopefully also the team is to be the guy to show them I want to do everything I can to, help this team win and, be there for my teammates and, especially offensive line, just like lead by example and like speaking like in a like speech in front of everyone. Like it's not like my thing, I can't be up there and just speak from my mind clearly for a long time. So, but yeah, I mean, I want to show my teammates that I'm always going to be there for them, and on the field and off the field, I'm going to do everything in my power to help our team win, and be there and build up everyone, and try to. I mean, also can be hard on people as well to make sure that because I want them to be great.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, you can't read too much into that because as quickly as one day it's going to be super positive, the next day it could be whatever, and so. You just want to stick to the plan, stick to the process. I'm also curious, though, about that where you're number 10, though, and my guess is this season more is expected, for 2024 as you head in likely to be the starter at center. I'm sure that in past years you'd say, hey, I prepared the same way. Like I prepared like I was going to be a starter, even though I wasn't expected to be if they brought in Olu or Drake or whatever the circumstances were. But that said, do you feel like is there a different level to your preparation this year knowing that, hey, the expectations are I'm probably a top 10 most important player on the team? I'm just curious if that's added a new angle or level to your preparation for the 2024 season.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been someone to try to work harder than everyone else and do everything right. And But I mean, just learning how to you have to also learn how to do the right thing, what the right thing is. And I feel like through my time here, it's if it's with eating or it's with practicing or it's watching film, and I've always done that as hard as I can and as best as I could. But it's also being able to know how to do it right. Mm-hmm. And I guess the biggest thing for me this year is just learning everything I can every day. And maybe in the past I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I used to do that or something like that. And I used to think it was right, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the best thing I could have done.
One other cool, I wouldn't call it a comparison or even a quote, but there was the esteemed MGO blog, which is a well-known Michigan blog that's one of the best out there. Every time a guy commits, they do a YMRMFSPA, which is a funny acronym. It means you might remember me from such players as. And they do that for every time a guy commits. And I went back to look at what yours was back, a few years ago when you committed. And yours was David Molk. And I'm not sure if you know David Molk. He
plays center.
Yeah, Michigan kind of when I was. And David Molk was a consensus All-American. He won the Remington Award and did 41 reps at the bench press at the combine. Pretty impressive.
I don't think I do 41 reps, but there's other things
not yet.
I will. I'm hoping to do
a few more of those chop house steaks, and you're up there. But
yeah.
I'm just curious. That was a comparison they made of you to David. Is there anyone you compare your game to, either past or current?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't look at that stuff that much. But I mean, I think like some guys who I watch, certain things is, with me, it's Jason Kelsey. I know he does a very good job at, being in space and blocking people in space, and also does a really good job at just like with his leverage on blocking people. He's not very big.
Yeah. But
he does. I mean, he's powerful and with his size, and I look at that, and or like, Linderbaum, like he's just does a very good job of also like using his power and just technique with like his punch and stuff like that, and like watched him a good bit, and yeah, I mean, definitely not like, especially not small, but like I'm not like this like 320-pound guy and 6'6", I'm 6'4", 305, and it's like what I try to relate myself to those guys, and but yeah, I mean, I've watched Creed Humphrey. I mean, but there's no one specific I would say that I would compare myself to. I'm trying to be the best at everything. I'm trying to be the best at everything. So,
like you said, you're taking like the cerebral part that Andrew Vastardis brought. You brought the sort of tactician that you learned from Olu, like you were saying earlier, and then that tenacity from Drake. And that's cool. That's what life's about. You'll have lots of different bosses, lots of different mentors, and you're trying to always pick the one or two best things from everyone to form your own way. And I think that's how you get better. That's awesome. I'm curious, have you heard the David Molk comparison before, or is that
I didn't know.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, now you have a goal of 41 to beat 41, which is, I think it's still one of the top 5 or something like that.
Yeah, my best was 23. So if I get close to 30, I'll be at the combine. I'll be extremely happy.
That's tough. Yeah. It's like you've got long arms. I'm not saying Blake, however many he did, was crazy, but I feel like you got a little bit of disadvantage. You got to clear that weight a little bit further. The long arms guys, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think they compared. I saw that they compared Blake Corum to Joe Alt, and Blake did 27 reps, and Joe Alt did 27 reps. But like Joe Alt's arms are so long, and Blake has pretty short arms, so it's just like more effort to move a further distance. So.
Yeah, you got to be short and stumpy like me. I can't do 23 reps though. Awesome, man.
So you guys, now the spring game's over. Since when between the spring game ending and like basically August 1st, you guys have officially kind of time off in a sense, right? I know you're doing some lifting and things like that, but just curious, what have you been doing other than going to Florida and catching a cold recently that you're fighting through? What have you been doing with your off season?
Yeah, so the month of May, I was here half the time, and I went home half the time, Massachusetts, Northborough, Mass, and just was just always I was just working out hard and the month of May, and just also working out hard, but then also relaxing. Well, I also did an internship, so in that time as well, but working out, internship, and relaxing, and then last month I also did another internship with I did this one with Jeff Fredicongeli, so
Okay.
he was great. We started May 29th, and
Okay. So you had two internships. We were talking earlier. One with wealth management, and then one with what in real estate.
one was a little bit with yeah, they just a small like marketing firm here.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
So, yeah.
Now you also did. I think you did a youth camp this summer with JJ, right? In Chicago.
That was last summer.
Is that okay? Last summer. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that for 2 years. Yeah, it was good.
And by the way, JJ, if you're listening, Greg's earlier comments about quarterbacks not being the toughest guys when he was talking about Harbaugh.
JJ, when I said that, I was like, oh, JJ's actually pretty tough.
Yeah, so we don't want JJ to be upset or anything with us, so we're just clarifying. It doesn't need to be said, but we said it anyway.
Harbaugh was a tough son of a bitch, though. Like I don't know if you saw this. I think this is the AFC Championship game. I think that was the one. Didn't he lacerate his spleen and like partially collapse a lung or something like that and finish the game? There's something crazy. I don't know what it was.
I mean, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
Well, that was
the first swear word ever on Leaders in Next podcast, so we'll have to figure that out. I don't know. I guess we're a PG-13 podcast now. Swear away, boys. We broke.
I love the story about Harbaugh getting in a fight at like, was it Chili's? And when asked about it, he goes,
"It was a
Applebee's, Bennigan's." Oh, and he just says, "Yeah, it was a Bennigan's thing," as if everyone knows what a Bennigan's thing would lead to an altercation like that. But yeah, he seemed to be a pretty tough guy.
When did he say that?
So he was on a podcast where these guys are talking to him, and they were asking him. It was Pardon My Take, and they were like, "Hey, when was the last fight you got into?" And they were expecting him to say like in my 20s, and he goes, "I don't know, it's like 39." Like, you got in a fight at 39? He was like, "Yeah, some guys were talking to me at a Bennigan's, and it was a Bennigan's thing. I punched him back." So it's just.
Oh my god! I already told. Yeah, I think it was the same story. I think or something like that. He told us I think it was after the national championship on the bus right back, and he was talking about how he got in a fight or something like that. It was just funny. I think it was the same one. I can't remember, but yeah, it was just funny.
There's a good one with his brother too. Apparently, like him and his brother are kind of wrestling or something. This is as an adult in the beach, and he pins John under the water, and John's like, "Haha, you got me." And I guess Jim held him down for quite a while, like, "I'm the boss around here," kind of thing. And John's like, "This is it." Jim snapped. Like, he's just going to kill me. He lived. But, yeah, he's an intense dude. Sounds like Sharon might be even more intense.
You got any other fun Harbaugh stories to share? I mean, he's gone now, so he's fair game. I mean, unless you think you're going to get drafted by him. But, I mean, anything else fun to talk about, Jim?
No, I don't think so. Not that I remember off the top of my head. But
did you ever get to feed his chickens?
No, I've seen them before. I've been over his house before, but that was once. Yeah, that was cool.
All joking aside, we talk about the Harbaugh and things like that, but people would talk about the culture a lot of the football team within the program and how good it is. How would you describe when someone asks, like, that's a broad word, and what does that look like to you if someone asks you what's the culture like? How do you describe it?
Yeah, so when I first got there, early January 2021, it was right after that 2-4 season during COVID, and that was I just remember like that was just like a bad time here, and it was I got like a month or two, a couple months after that I got here, and I feel like at the time it was just a very like negative. It could be like kind of like negative and like woe is me type of attitude here,
right?
Michigan, and I think people got tired of it. And I think Coach Herb and Coach Harbaugh and like the leaders on the team and like that stuff, like kind of had that mentality of like, doesn't matter what's happening, doesn't matter about the conditions, like the weather or what's going on, obviously like Coach Harbaugh not being in that game, it doesn't matter. Like get the job done, and I feel like that's the biggest thing about our culture is just doing everything we can to do the right thing and get the job done and be at our best. And I think that's the biggest thing with our culture, and just supporting your teammates as well.
You switching gears a little bit to you've to kind of academics, and you've are now a two-time, we covered at the beginning, two-time academic all Big Ten honoree. That can't be easy given you're playing football for the defending national champions and you're going to a really academic, rigorous school. What's the key you found to make that all work and be all Big Ten in academics?
Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously my recruiting process was, going to a school that has great academics, and because I obviously want to play in the NFL and play football as long as I can, and if I have a great career in the NFL, unbelievable career in the NFL. So, I played 10 years from like early 30s. I mean, money's not gonna last forever, and I kind of, I play 5 years. They named the years. Probably in my early 30s, mid 20s, late 20s, like, then I'm done with football, and then I have to do something else with my life. And I know there's a saying called 4 for 40. I've heard people say, and 4 years of great education for the rest of your life. And it's just really, school is really important to me, and just like learning and like meeting like the great alumni here and like people who support us. And I feel like for me with like I take I'm in sport management. That's my major, and I felt like it was a good major for me. It was just something that I enjoy. Obviously, like I am a big sports guy, and so it's been pretty easy, especially being from Massachusetts, being a big sports guy. The Patriots and all those other teams like Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, and it's obviously been pretty good. But just being able to like go class every day, and like like sometimes it's tough, like after a long day you have some homework. Like, I think I'm able to enjoy it a little bit better, especially with my major and the classes I take. And there's definitely competitiveness with myself, like to get good grades, and it's definitely saying like C's get degrees, but I want to get an A. I don't know, like I'm gonna try to get an A. I'm not gonna just. I don't know. I think it's my competitive nature. I think I took a bunch of credits last semester because I was just trying to, I was trying to graduate, and I take a light load this next semester. I'm only taking 2 classes, which is nice because I only need 2 left to graduate. So graduate in December, and I took 6 classes, I think.
That's a big load.
I got 4 A minuses and 2 B pluses, so it's definitely I was pretty happy with that. It was 2 B pluses, but yeah, that was good. Just, I think that competitive nature kind of comes out sometimes.
That's super impressive, Greg. And you touched on that you picked sports management, and you covered maybe a little bit why. Just there's a passion there. There's some a lot going on. But I'm just curious, what was it that drew you to sports management as a major?
I'm definitely more in like I definitely would want to be in more of the business side of like the businesses. Like I like financial like advising. I think it's something I maybe would want to do someday, or maybe work in the sports business world. And I find it interesting, and sports management has like marketing, has finance, like has a whole bunch of like kind of like business major like type of classes, but sports themed. And I just thought it was really interesting because I mean, sports is one of the highest. It makes them probably one of the most money in America, especially in America. I mean, there's so much money in it now, and why not have a major for it and learn more about it? Especially because I'm in the sports world.
Has the coursework at all been updated with NIL? Like, have you started to like NIL stuff sort of cross into the sports management curriculum? I'm curious.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 100%. I feel like there's definitely like some crossover between each classes sometimes. Like, I feel like now that we're talking about the same thing, but like kind of, like we'd be talking about like in one class I'd be talking about NIL, and then the next class I'd be talking about NIL, but like it'd be like the law. Like I took like a law class, law class, and then I'd have a media like class. So like it's two different like type of classes, but we'd be talking about NIL.
So if you were king for a day and you got to do whatever you wanted to do with NIL at the University of Michigan, what are some of the changes that you would consider making as it relates to how Michigan approaches NIL?
I think they're doing a good job. I think they're doing better now. I feel like. Because
a lot of fans are frustrated, but they're not in the know. But they'll hear big numbers thrown out about collectives at other schools or Ohio State and other things, and they feel like, hey, we're kind of being left behind in the arms race, and fans get up in arms about that. But hearing you saying it's getting better, I mean, just curious, what are you seeing? That you think is going in the right direction?
Yeah, I feel like what was new this year is there's a champion circle.
Yep.
NIL thing, and I know a lot more people getting paid. And I just remember the transfers from last year. I don't really think they got paid that much. And I mean, I think we were a bit behind, but I think we're doing really good right now.
Speaking of champion circle, we saw the post. You were signed, and we've seen a bunch of guys have been quote unquote signed by Champion Circle. And for those listening don't know, Champion Circle is the largest collective, supporting Michigan athletics. And so, they've sent out things saying, hey, we signed Greg Crippen and we've signed Andrew Gentry, we've signed other guys. What does that mean? And you don't have to give us exact numbers because that's nobody's business. But when they signed you, what obligations do you have at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there would be things I would have to do to, like, to get the money.
Okay.
Maybe sign some things or, go to the event and stuff like that. Very easy things I, don't mind doing at all. And I mean, obviously they're helping us out a lot, and we're willing to help out with them.
Awesome.
Back to your sports management degree, I'm curious, do you think that takes you down the path of being a sports agent? Or, what do you see that kind of being, like you said, the 10 to 15 years, hopefully, after your NFL career? Where do you think that takes you?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked into it as much as I probably should have, but I mean, there's definitely like the business side. I mean, about a sports agent, I don't know, but I think there's a lot there's a big business side of sports that maybe we don't see it enough. It's probably pretty big, and like with the team or even just like the NFL, the people who run the NFL and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope it's a long NFL career, that you've lived below your means, saved up a bunch of money, unlike most of the people, it seems like, that run out of their money real quickly, and have a nice transition into the sports business side. That would be great. Well, this is
still save on rent. You can always split the place up, even if you're in the NFL. No shame in that game.
Yeah. Well,
I got 3 roommates. They're up, my wife and kids. So, you never get rid of that.
Yeah.
They just become college obligations. So we're going to end now with a 2-minute drill where we get to ask you a bunch of questions. Some of them are related to football, some are not. And we've never done the stats on this, but this goes way more than 2 minutes typically. So
Okay.
that's okay. We have timeouts and TV timeouts and all sorts of stuff. So first one, if you weren't a football player, what sport are you playing?
Basketball, 100%.
Basketball. Okay, well,
Oh,
rumor has it. Well, we're gonna get to basketball because we've got a lot of guys that apparently play basketball on the team, and they're all part of the starting five, self-proclaimed. But we're gonna get to that later. Baseball. Rumor has it you threw out the first pitch in your hometown of Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for those, it's spelled. It looks like it's supposed to be pronounced Worcester.
Yeah.
But it's actually Worcester. Good Boston accent for the Woo Sox.
Yep.
And now, question: the inquiring minds want to know: did you throw it from the mound, or were you closer to home plate?
I would have thrown it from the mound, but they don't think they wanted me to like step on it and like mess it up or something like that. Probably. So I did not throw it from the mound. No, but I would have.
Did you throw a fastball down the middle? Was it a strike?
It was a little high. It was definitely just trying to get in there, not trying to whip it. I've seen many people try to throw as hard as they can and they just throw it right at the ground.
They throw it right in the ground. Did you? Yeah. So you didn't bounce it. You got it there?
No, I got it there. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, all right. Basketball though. Gentry again. Your roommate. Apparently,
he was good basketball. Pretty good basketball.
Yeah.
I think I was pretty good as well. I mean, I'm definitely not. There's some of those other guys on the team probably are.
Who's your starting five
on the team?
Yeah, who's your starting five? You're pulling together a basketball team, and you're gonna play.
I don't know. I don't know much about some of these guys. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. We'll put you. We're going to put you. We're putting you at the 3 position, the 4. What do we got you at?
Yeah, I mean, I'll play 4. I'm a strong guy. I'll box people out. I was good at defense.
You'll use all your fouls, which is good.
Yeah, good. I didn't foul out too much, but I definitely could.
Other than you, who should fans be on the lookout in terms of having a breakout season next year?
I think the person that comes to my mind is probably Max Bredesen.
Oh, interesting. Because Max has obviously had a lot of playing time already, but that's interesting. We had him on earlier, and it was a fun conversation, and I love watching that guy. I love sitting in the stands, and when I see him in the game, it's fun to follow him because chaos typically is the end of wherever he's headed.
Oh yeah,
and it's a lot of fun watching him play. So okay, top spot to eat in town.
Me and my girlfriend, we like sushi.
Okay,
let's go Plate. That's a very good place. It's a good sushi place around here, and yeah, I say that's a good place.
Plate. That's the first response in 8 episodes. You may not run into a lot of your teammates there because no one else has named it.
Okay, were there a lot of teammates that said the same place?
Well, we had a lot of Chipotle. And we're like, okay, well, what about some other spots? And so I'm trying to think.
I mean, yeah, I go there too, but I wouldn't say that.
Frankly, if you're going out with your girlfriend, you probably want to go to a place where you're not going to be like you want to be with your girlfriend, not a bunch of your teammates. So probably good spot.
We've had a couple others that were like Pacific Rim was one. I don't know if you've been down there downtown. We had Monty. There are a whole bunch of different spots.
Monty, yep, that's a good place. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, favorite stadium jam. You going with Mr. Brightside or Pump It Up? Only continue.
Definitely Pump It Up.
What's the story behind Pump It Up? Is it really some Danish techno song that Joel Honingford discovered? Because I've heard lots of different rumors. Is that how it came to be?
Yeah, the first time. Actually, no. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I heard. I mean, I've heard them play it like when I first got like when it was like the summer when I first got there like before that season. I heard them playing it, and it kind of just became. I don't know how people knew like how they started playing at the stadium. I can't remember why or how, but they were kind of like, hey, this seems like it's kind of like our song. And after every time we scored or something good happened, we played it in the stadium. I always loved it. I thought it was super cool. The biggest time I remember was when we played Ohio State, and we obviously I remember playing every time we scored. It was really fun.
Did you did you have the chair? Were you one of the chair guys?
No.
Okay. There's a lot of chairs going up.
Yes.
Speaking of Ohio State, I like my background here, 42 to 27.
I saw that when you first came on.
Yeah. We were at that game, and then we were on the field, which is a whole different story because that's really hard to get on the field, and it's also very hard to get off that field if they don't allow you to go through the tunnel.
So many people have ripped off Pump It Up. I hear it all over the place now. It sucks. It's like it's our thing, but whatever. You find something cool, people are going to rip it off.
Yeah, it seemed to me on the football team after that season, a lot of guys did not like Pump It Up anymore.
But you're still taking it. You're saying Pump It Up.
Yeah, I think it's so. I think it's good. I'm not a big Brightside fan. It's good. I like how the whole stadium sings it, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say it gets me like pumped up, ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a big guy, offensive lineman. So on team flights, do you get to your first choice of seats before the defensive backs and wide receivers, those smaller guys get a choice? I mean, are you window or aisle guy?
Definitely an aisle guy.
Yeah.
Some people like the window. I mean, it's usually like offenses to the left of the plane, defenses to the right.
And is that just because you guys just don't get along? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. That's how they do it.
Well, any chance? What does it take to get upgraded on a team flight to first class?
No,
never been upgraded. Guy.
That's what it is.
Maybe, you never know. Maybe this year will be the first year you get upgraded.
Top 10 most important guy on the team, right? This is a big question among fans and particularly tailgaters who are trying to optimize game day for, let's just say, different reasons. But as a player, do you prefer night games or noon games?
Noon.
Noon. Tell us more.
Waiting all day to play the game is, I don't know, it's not very fun.
I'm gonna throw a bonus question on this one. Big game blues, blue top, blue pants, or you like traditional? You like the blue jersey, maize pants?
I definitely like both. I think both are great. I mean, I feel like I do like the blue on blue for big games, and then the other games, like I feel like it's just what we've done, and I don't know. Yeah.
Man, Greg,
I think the Michigan colors and the uniforms are the best.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
That first game after COVID, or I guess it was the second game, so Washington 2021. That night game, they broke out the big blues for the first time and got a delay game on the first play. Oh, that was.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
That was something else. Good time.
Well, I think we also ran. It was probably an offensive lineman dream. We ran the ball 700 times for 1,000 yards. It felt like in that game, and ran all over them. So. Of course, then fans weren't worried that we couldn't pass the ball, which, again, as fans, some of these fans are a little bit nuts at times. So you're now going to appear on America's Got Talent. Do you have a hidden talent? What is the talent that you're going to reveal? No hidden talent. The shake of the head negative means
nope.
No, you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't juggle, magic tricks, nothing.
No.
You're focused on football. Okay. Nothing wrong. Well, you can snap the ball, and you can snap it both under center and now you're not a long snapper.
No, I don't know how long snap. It's two very different things.
Right. It's incredible. Some of these guys, they come in as walk-ons, become a long snapper, and then go to the NFL just as a long snapper. So
yeah, I mean, it's very you have to be very consistent, but if you can do it really well, I mean, do anything really well, I mean, I might as well just try to be the best at it.
Nice.
I got one, Greg. All right, so maybe no singing, no dancing, but but you are from Massachusetts. Could you break out like a sweet Boston accent? That could.
Like chowder.
Yeah, like
Chowder.
Chowder. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I would say I don't have a big Boston accent. It's just from being from like Central Mass. But I feel like there are times I say something that did sound more Boston.
Have you watched The Town? How many times have you seen The Town? Too many.
A couple times. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Hometown movie.
I'm just stereotyping all of Massachusetts for like, oh yeah, you like Dunkin' Donuts?
That's a great one.
Do you know Ben Affleck?
Yeah, no. What is it? Yeah. Good Will Hunting. Yeah, it's a ton of great movies from Boston, and a ton of great actors from Boston.
Do you have a favorite? Like, what's your so Boston's got a million movies about it, in it, million like sports teams. Like, what's your favorite like piece of Boston that? What's your favorite either like movie about the city or something like that? I'm just curious.
I mean, some of those movies, yeah, definitely those movies are really good. I mean, just like the Boston sports teams. I mean, the Garden. I mean, like it's unbelievable, and I mean, it's really fun and being there and stuff like that. It's a ton of things. I feel like it's kind of hard to pick one. I just feel like also the history there and stuff like that. My sister actually, she goes to Northeastern there now, so also having her there and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of things there that it's so hard to pick one. It's so many great things.
Well, growing up, you had Brady, who was like dominant for so long. So it might be the Patriots, but did you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite Boston like pro sports team that you grew up really, really liking?
No, it was Patriots, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, my whole room is like all Patriots. It still is. I mean, my parents are like, oh, we should change. I'm like, it's all right. You can keep it. Yeah, Patriot blanket, whole Patriot wall. It's kind of geeky, but it was like middle school, elementary school. So
when you get drafted by him, it's gonna be even better. Now, what is your favorite away stadium environment? So this could be Big Ten or non-Big Ten, but do you have a favorite like away stadium environment that you've experienced?
Yeah, my freshman year, that was definitely, I thought, Nebraska.
Oh, the night game.
Yeah, that was the loudest stadium I've ever been in by far.
Louder than Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, last year was definitely loud. I mean, it's really loud. But I remember the first drive at Nebraska that year, like literally, like I couldn't hear myself talk.
Interesting.
It was crazy, and it was just like the light show and like the fireworks. It was like, oh, this is cool.
In an absolutely wild game.
It was a wild game. I know. Yeah.
Great, and we've been to a game there, Dan and I, and super. I don't think it's changed. Super nice fans, pretty good crowd to hang out with.
That's
quite
funny.
honestly.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I remember my dad comes to every game, and he went there, and like obviously he's good friends with some of the other parents as well, and they went out to like the bars area and like where the other fans are, and they were like Nebraska fans like came out with open arms, like, yes, come with us. And it's like he's just like, wow, they're really nice.
I mean, it's that's the same reaction we had. Dan and I were there with some of his college buddies, all Michigan guys. We go to a bar, we're wearing Michigan gear. First of all, it's the land of giants. I think everybody in Nebraska is tight end or bigger. And some guy taps me on the shoulder, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh boy, this is going to be bad. And he basically says, hey, you guys know where, need to know any place to go or anything like that? You find everything okay? Thanks for coming. I thought this is certainly not what you would get in Columbus, Ohio, to name it, or East Lansing.
I think Michigan fans are pretty nice as well, but
yeah.
The Nebraska fans are very, very nice. I think they have one of the best fan bases too.
Yeah,
I mean, they haven't been very good, in a while. I mean, their stadium's packed every week.
Nope. Yeah, exactly. Packed every week, and We did get sold some bullshit tickets though, Greg. We were sitting behind like it's like those tickets that like they'll our seats were literally behind a concrete pillar.
Yeah,
So luckily it came in handy that the fans were so nice because they let us sit in on either side of the pillar. So imagine you sit in the seat, concrete pillar, and that's all you can see.
So you guys were at the game last year?
No, we went a long time ago. Like we were there. We were there.
Denard, it was a year.
Was there. And
Denard got hurt. And they. It was a tough game. It was a game we lost. It's
tough.
Well, hey, this is Greg. It's been great having you share your background with viewers and listeners. It's not often that a talented guy like yourself sticks around at the same school for 4 years now, and we're certainly glad you did. And we're excited to see you on the field this season. Folks, look out for number 51. So best of luck being the next great center from, and there's been several from the University of Michigan. We hope everybody's going to follow us on social media. Please visit our website, leadersandx.com, and for information on how you can support Michigan athletics. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Go Blue.